What's up, geeks and gamers? My name is Drementfh, and welcome to Thorium Gaming. And this is not going to be a fun episode. This week, we've got to go into something that is a little bit touchy. Now, I have a small platform, and the 80 or so of you that have subscribed over the time, words cannot describe how incredibly fucking grateful I am for you guys being around. I love you all, and you're awesome. That said, even though my platform's small and my reach is incredibly limited, the more voices that speak up on this, the better off we're all going to be. And mostly it comes down to the fact that we need to go over some very, very basic evidence and facts. And if I was up for monetization, which I'm not because I'm small, this would get hit. It would definitely get hit. If I was big enough to get monetized, I would still be fucking doing this because this needs to be talked about. We need to start looking at this properly. In the background here, you're going to see some minor missions for the 39th episode of Merc Life. It's just going to be that the voice is not going to match the usual experience that you're used to. The first recording for the voice kind of screwed up, and I'm having to do it again, but this is worth doing, and no matter how tired and exhausted I am, this needs to be said. Right now, our world is facing a very, very fundamental problem. Now, I know where everybody's mind is jumping to, and yes, that is what we are going to be talking about today. The big bug that is kicking our asses all across the board. But that's not the problem that I'm really talking to. That is a symptom of the problem. The real problem is a lack of basic empathy. It's hard to wrap your mind around, and I hope I'll be able to explain my position on this clearly. But we're going to go into it. So what am I getting at that's the big problem? It's the lack of empathy for everyone else in the world. Now, I will admit I am biased here. My minor in university was biochem on virology. I had it in my mind that I was going to make nanites and revolutionize the world, solve diabetes, because, well, I'm a mama's boy and my mom has diabetes. Turns out I'm not that smart, and it also turns out that the technology isn't there yet. Theoretically, possible, physically, implausible. It would take more to make the rolled tungsten nanotubes than the Earth has. Like global GDP here. But that's getting off track. I am not a layman, but I am not an expert. And that's part of where I'm going to get to here as we go down the line. So, what exactly are you fucking talking about, Dre? We are facing a global situation right now. We are involved in a once a century pandemic. The shitty part about this, and the part that is pissing me off, the part that we need to talk about, we have lost 1,489,897 people in this world. These statistics that I'm going to be writing out, especially that last one, I'm pulling them from Johns Hopkins. They're a university that has in-depthly studied this. They do good peer-reviewed work. I trust them as a source. You can take it for what you want, and you can disbelieve this. Hell, you can fucking disagree with me if you want. It doesn't make you right, and it doesn't make you wrong. However, these are the statistics that I'm basing my math off of, and it's something that we have to talk about. That's 1.5 million deaths that were entirely preventable. And that's just a rough estimate. A single person lost, a single life extinguished to something that is preventable is a fucking tragedy. And we have lost 1.5 million lives. When does it stop becoming a tragedy and start becoming a statistic? Because you know, that's the shit the Soviet Union pulled in the Second World War. To quote Stalin, no, not Godwin's Law and Hitler, but Stalin, one death is a tragedy. 1 million deaths is a statistic. And it comes down to empathy. We just stopped giving a fuck. We stopped caring. Why? Does it have to be someone in your own social group, in your family, that contracts this thing and dies? before you start caring about other people again, before you start caring about everyone around you. See, I don't view this as a Canadian problem, and I am from the Great White North. I don't view it as an American problem, or a Chinese problem, or a Japanese problem, or a UK problem. This is a human problem, and it is infinitely solvable. We can stop this, and we can fix this. But what we have to do to get to that point is to start giving a fuck about one another. Everybody out there who's going, this is some giant conspiracy, it's a hoax, it's a way to infringe on our civil liberties. You're wrong. Nothing has been written into law to curtail our civil rights or liberties. It can't be done that way. And if they tried, there would be riots in the street over it. But here's the thing, it's not. It's basic human empathy. And the statistics I'm about to lay on you should prove that. Because it's a cultural thing and a mental thing. It comes down to basic care and empathy. So what I'm going to do for this, because we in the West like to view ourselves as the best in the world. Every country thinks they're the best in the world. This is pretty much universally true. We're human beings. We like to be number one. We like to be the best. Here's the sad fact. As a species, especially right now, we're trash. All of us. And it doesn't matter. I'm not differentiating on religious, gender, sexuality, color, whatever fucking lines you want to use to divide us. As a people, we are failing. And here's my fucking proof. Or at least something that's going to get in to the way I'm thinking and to show you my line. Japan is a great country. It really is. There's a lot of sites over there. They're a bit more authoritarian than we are here in Canada. But they're a great country. And despite all past things that none of us were really alive to be taking part in, you look at them today and they're a great country. Now, Japan covers roughly 377,915 kilometers squared. It's not a very big country, is it? When you look at Canada, which is 9.985 million kilometers squared, yeah, you could fit Japan 26 times into my country. Oh, but it gets much, much worse than that. I live in one of the 10 provinces and territories of Canada, which makes sense because I can't live in all of them. Though I would love to live in all of them because I love my country. But here's the thing. British Columbia is 944,735 kilometers squared. You can fit Japan 2.5 times into my province alone. Canada is the second largest country by landmass in the world. We can fit Japan in us 26 times, and just the province I live in 2.5 times. Well, Dre, why does this fucking matter? This is why it matters. The total population in my country is approximately 37.59 million people. It's a lot of Canadians. The population in Japan is 126.5 million. They outnumber us 3.3 times. Again, where is this going? Stay with me. That means that by population density, there are 3.8 Canadians for every kilometer squared in my country. There are 334.8 Japanese people for every square kilometer of Japan. That's an 88 times population density. Again, what the fuck does this have to do with what I'm talking about? And here's where we come to the crux of it. In a first world, Western, modern nation that has access to some of the best healthcare in the world, Canada has 393,506 cases of corona. And we have lost 12,342 people. Each one is a fucking tragedy. Now, you would expect that a country that has 88 times our population density would be far worse off than us, just because they cannot socially distance as well as we can. That's where you're wrong, and that's my point. Japan, over the course of this virus, has only had 153,403 cases. That is less than half of the cases my country has had. And they have 88 times the population. They've only had 2,137 deaths because of this stupid fucking bug, with 88 times the population density. And there are big reasons why. In Japan, it is cultural that if you get sick, you wear a mask. It shows up in their commercials and it shows up in their cartoons. Now, this is going to sound really fucking stupid, and I can already see the shut up weeb comments coming from me. But I remember when I was a kid watching fucking Sailor Moon. Yes, I did watch it a few times when I was a kid. One of them got sick and wore a fucking mask. I'm also bringing this from first-hand experience. I had the privilege of playing hockey. Yes, I'm a stereotypical Canadian, with 2 Japanese exchange students. They still call me their white brother. We never saw race or differences in us. They just happened to be from Japan, and I happened to be from Canada. They were over here, we played hockey. It's what we did. In their culture, from their own mouths. Call this anecdotal if you want, and technically it is. They say you get sick, you put a mask on. In a country with 88 times our population density, they have less than half of our cases. Because of that simple fact that they voluntarily look out for other people before themselves. And that is what gets me angry. That is what pisses me off. You see, every single person on this planet, whether they know it or not, is a geek and gamer. Just like everybody who's part of this channel. Just like the 80 odd subscribers that I have. Just like all the friends and family I have met online. Because we all play a game called life, and we have to play it to win. We can't take half measures, and we have to start caring about our goddamn teammates. When it comes down to it, you're not wearing a mask for yourself. You're wearing it for everybody around you. It stops the spread of this fucking virus. Washing your hands stops the spread of this fucking virus. Socially distancing at 6 feet helps stop the spread of this fucking virus. Socially isolating stops the spread of this fucking virus. Now, each one of those things individual will not completely destroy this thing. But when you add them all up, it's like adding the seatbelt to the airbags to the roll cage and the brakes on a fucking car. Sure, any one of those things could save your life. But when you add them together, you want them all in a goddamn car crash. We need to start doing it for everything. Because we have lost 1.5 million people in this world. 1.5 million individual lives, individual stories, individual libraries of knowledge and experience have been fucking lost to something we could have prevented. Something we can still curtail. Something we can still stop. How much more do we have to lose? How much more individual, irreplaceable knowledge, how many more individual lives do we have to lose before we stop looking at this as individuals and start looking at it as a fucking species, as a society, as a community? Do you have to lose someone in your life before you take this shit seriously? I'm the primary caregiver to someone who's compromised. My godfather is also compromised. And because of where I live, I'm the computer guy for the neighborhood. Most of the people I do computer work for are compromised. Most of the people whose driveways I shovel in the winter are compromised. Are their lives worthless? Are their lives worth less than my own? You can hear the passion in that I'm tripping over my own damn words. Because I am passionate about this. How many people are you worth? Or you? Or you? Are you worth 2 people? 10? 50? How many lives would it take lost in your own life before you stop looking at yourself and start looking at other people? Now, I'm not trying to hold myself above anyone walls. I use myself as an example because I can A, laugh at myself, I can denigrate myself, and I can put myself down.
Weapons
I can admit my failings and my faults.
All
I'm an
systems
arrogant,
nominal.
self-entitled bastard. A lot of the time, hell, I'm not even funny. I'm laughing at myself because somebody's got to laugh on this. But here's the thing. With the study on blood types, O-type blood is less likely to pick up this virus. I happen to have O-type blood. My body temperature runs naturally a little bit higher than most. I run at a pretty much steady 99.1, which inhibits the flow of this virus. I have an overactive immune system, which inhibits the flow of this virus. It's not gonna fucking touch me. But it isn't about me. If I get it, I will present asymptomatically and it will not hurt me in the long run. But if I give that to my mom, to my godfather, to any of the people I care about, God forbid to any of my nieces or nephews, and they die of it because they aren't able to handle it, might as well put me in the ground right now. Because I would rather die than let that happen. But it's not just my family I extend that to. It's not just the people in my own social circle. If one of my friends, if one of their family members got this thing because of me, you might as well just shoot me. Because that would break me. And it's not because I feel like I'm better than everyone else for saying this. It's because I honestly give a fuck about other people. We deal with so much that is trying to separate us. We have made issues out of fucking shit that should have been done away with hundreds of years ago. See, to me, it doesn't matter what fucking color you are, who you love, what gender you identify as. I don't give a fuck. You're a human being. You don't deserve to be killed from something that is preventable. I don't care if you disagree with me. That's the beauty about the world. We can have different points of view, and we have to have different points of view on a lot of shit. If everyone was the same, it would be boring as fuck. But in this, we do have to be united. You may not like it. I fucking despise masks. The surgical masks, I wear glasses, it pinches my fucking ears, it's uncomfortable, and since I wear glasses, I go from outside to inside, I can't see shit. But I fucking wear one. Everywhere I go. I use gloves. Single-use gloves, not to cross-contaminate shit. I sanitize. I never thought in my fucking life that my hands would consume more alcohol than my mouth. And I have been a fucking reclusive hermit for the last 6 months. All in an effort not to make myself look good, but to keep people around me fucking safe. Because this is 1.5 million people we've lost. Who had lives, who had stories, who had experiences and knowledge that we will never have again. Because we're selfish. How many need to die before we wake the fuck up and start caring about each other again? When did we let stupid shit divide us? And that is why, when I talk about geeks and gamers, I use us as the standard, the goal. Because you know what? Behind the screen of a computer, we are completely the same. There is no gender. There is no race, creed, religion, anything. It's only when you say it does it come up. The rest of the time, are you a good tank? Can you hold aggro? Are you a good healer? Can you keep the tank from dying when he inevitably pulls more than he fucking should? Are you a good DPS and not standing in the fire? That's all that matters to geeks and gamers. We don't give a shit about the rest. And in fact, part of the reason I push this so hard is I wouldn't even be here without other geeks and gamers. I went through an incredibly dark time, and they saved me. That's details for another time, and it's completely off topic. But that kind of love, that kind of empathy, is what we need right now. We need to start showing that to people we don't know. To people we have never met. Wear your mask, not for yourself, but for the families, for the people, for the frontline workers who are risking their asses to protect all of us. Wear it so that we can stop letting people die. And that is what it is. It's not people who are tragically getting killed. We are letting them die by failing. All it's going to take is for us to come together, not as a country, not as a hemisphere, not as a world, but as a single species. Humanity. We all bleed red. It's time for us to put aside every inconsequential bullshit fucking idea and start looking out for the other people in this world. Because if we don't, this is only going to get worse. And all the people who are crying, it's an invasion of my rights, and are going out and partying and making these big fucking gatherings, they're going to kill other people. And the only way we can stop this shit, the only way we can get back to something that is normal, and fuck that new normal bullshit. Nothing about this is fucking normal. Only way we get back to a sense of normalcy, a sense of decency, is to start giving a fuck about one another again. No matter what we're doing, all it takes is a little bit of care. Just the tiniest bit, and we can put this to rest. 6 weeks of this shit, and the virus would starve out in a lot of places. If you look at the fucking flu numbers because of the isolation and everything, it has hit our world a whole lot weaker this year than it did last year. And that's not even full measures. And for all of you who are crying this invasion of my rights, grow up, you fucking pansy. Nothing has been written into law. This is not military occupation. This is not martial law. This is private businesses going, we're following the mandate, and they have the right to refuse service for any fucking reason. If you don't like it, don't shop there. Wear your fucking mask. You don't like it on public transit? Fucking walk. Wear the goddamn masks, not for yourself, but for the people around you. Some people do not have a choice but to go out right now. All of the frontline workers, the people that we realize now are really instrumental in keeping our society going. Not these millionaire CEOs, not these actors, not the pro athletes. The motherfuckers down in the dirt every day, keeping this going. Think about them. Think about the nurses and doctors who even now are admitting their colleagues because they're risking their asses trying to keep us all safe, trying to mend us. And it's not just the fucking virus. They're doing that on top of their already stressful workload. Stop focusing on what divides us. Skin color doesn't fucking matter. Sexual orientation doesn't fucking matter. Gender does not fucking matter. None of that shit matters. Oh, straight white guy talking about this shit. Fuck off. I don't care what you think about me as a person. It's the idea that you need to get. Because the only difference between me and you is a different body. We're both human. We both bleed red if you cut us. And that's what we gotta remember. We are in this together. We are in this as a unit. We are in this as a whole. It isn't me versus the virus. It's we versus the virus. It's we versus all of this bullshit. And the second we stop blaming everything from religion to skin color for all of the fucking troubles and start basing it on a unified human species, we will get over this bullshit. And I am so tired of repeating the math over and over again. I am so tired of repeating the facts and everything to all of these individuals who just don't care. It frustrates me. It makes me angry and it hurts. But for what it's worth, on my tiny ass platform, I'm going to keep screaming it. I'm going to keep saying it. It's exhausting. It's tiring. It's frustrating. It pushes me to the limits of mental breakdown some days. But we have to keep doing it. We have to keep being there for one another. Because if we stop, we're going to lose a hell of a lot more people. And each one of those is an individual fucking tragedy that could be avoided. There is no reason for it. So you know what, Geeks and Gamers? this is not where I would normally give you this beautiful fucking outro and all this bullshit, but I can't do it like that this week. I can't. I'm not gonna ask you to subscribe if you liked it or any of that bullshit, because that doesn't fucking matter. I'm gonna ask you to be safe. I'm gonna plead with you to be safe. I'm gonna ask you to wear a mask. Plead with you to wear a mask to keep the rest of us safe, because we're in this together. But the one thing I will repeat from my usual outro: life is a game. Let's play to win and keep those most vulnerable alive and part of the team. Let's stick together on this. If you can't agree with me, well, have a good life. I thank you for stopping by anyway. If you do agree with me, I'll see you next week. Till then, guys, take care.